Friends, welcome to the Singularity. Let's get weird. I am Danny. It's still 2026, 3 weeks in. 2026, we're manifesting. Now, listen, we always talk about energy. And obviously, there's a lot of forms of energy, but how can we talk about energy in a way that relates to our life, my friends? I always talk about energy in a way that is cosmic, universal, frequency, vibration, everything that is in your reality is made of energy, which is true. But how can we look at this in a way that is solid and fundamental to how it is in our world, okay? That you may understand a little better. So, obviously, energy, you're probably thinking, yeah, man, I use energy whenever I go jogging or I eat some food or, you know, I get up in the morning and make coffee. It takes energy. Everything is energy. Which all of those are true. All of those are true. But let's unpack that, okay? Because there's something that ties all of these together fundamentally. Like we said, there's energy where, you know, we may go for a jog, just say workout. We get it from food. This pen is not being awesome. We get energy from things we like, you know, hobbies, passions, our job, you know, going to our job takes energy. But what is an even more valuable asset than your energy when you think about this? That is going to be your time. Right? Because you never know how much time you have. It could be a long time and it can be a short time. But there are some things in this life that can either make your time feel like it's going to be longer or it can shorten your time. Okay? There's also things that feel like they steal your time and some things that can put time in your bank account. And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay? Now, how does this tie in with energy and time? Well, you spend your time working out. Most of the time you do it to get a result. You know, the result here is fitness. Time and energy spent working out gives you fitness. Okay? Time and energy with food. I mean, you know, time and energy from the sun going into the food. Time and energy creating a garden can produce you food. So the result here is just nourishment, right? However you look at it. You're trading your energy and your time for nourishment, food. Hobbies and your passions, you're trading your time and energy for what? Happiness. You know, those things make you happy. They keep you engaged. They keep you enjoying life, right? Time and energy. You go to work every day, you know. A lot of people's work feels like a drag. It's because their passion isn't it. They're 9 to 5, you know, grinding it out all week. Well, what are you doing really? You're trading your limited time and your energy for money. Okay? Now, let's kind of unpack each one of these a little bit. Time and energy for fitness. Okay? You go work out, you have a goal in mind. You want to reach a certain weight Well, you have to go in the gym or not the gym. You have to figure out how to produce and control your energy in a way that gives you the outcome you're looking for over a certain amount of time. Okay? Um Results come with persistence. Okay? Food, nourishment, same thing. The food, the energy comes from everything is, friends, let's rewind here. Everything is tied to the sun, okay, and light when it comes to food. The food web starts with plants, okay, photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Okay? What I mean by that is that every food you eat needs to be tied to photosynthesis or closest to it as it can be. So, say plants, animals eat the plants. We eat the animals, kind of like beef. Beef will be able to, they'll be able to digest grass and everything. So they turn grass into what we eat as meat, and we are able to get all of our vitamins and nutrients and all of these macronutrients and things from it because it is transferring energy. Energy is transferring some from the sun into the plant, into the animal, into us. Okay, that's all that's happening. It's a chain event. Our hobbies and our passions. We're out there spending our time and energy on happiness, right? Like we said, like we mentioned. This is the place where a lot of people, they get caught up in life. They get caught up in the hustle bustle of life, not enjoying life, not having enough time to do the things that they love. They actually love. It may just be, they feel like they could never get ahead in life. They might have kids that hold them back from doing things. So a lot of things come in your life, that you choose to do, that you agree to, and a lot of your happiness gets kind of drained off here, and you spend a lot of your energy, a lot of your time on other things, and maybe not on your passions. So focus on that. Make some time for your hobbies and passions, my friends. Energy and time when it comes to money. Now, let's do a little reverse here. Take it on back. What is money? Have you ever asked this question? Because this is the biggest one. Because we trade a lot of our time, most of our time, because this might be an hour or 2 or 3, maybe an hour a day, times a couple times a week. So 4 hours maybe on your hobbies or passions. Food. I don't know if you grow your own food, but you might spend a good bit of time on there. Let's just say 4 hours shopping. Probably 8 hours a week, an hour cooking. It's probably more than that. I would say 8 to 12 hours a week preparing your food, nourishment, whatever, shopping, cooking, all those things. Time and energy. Okay? Working out, fitness. You may go to the gym every morning. I don't know. You may go run every evening. You may go do both of those things. You may work out 3 times a week. 3 times a week, 3 times a day. So this is a biggie. I mean, maybe 0 to infinity. I don't know. It's whatever you do. I play tennis maybe 3 times a week. So that's the workout I get in. And that happens to be one of my hobbies and my passions. So I kind of blend them. Back to this. What is money? Let's do a little reverse on this question here. So if you asked yourself, what is money? Well, it's what we trade our time and all through history. Not all of history, but you know, up until the last few thousand years, probably, we've traded our time and our energy for what would be an asset, okay, like money. And that just means that you would trade your time and your energy to go to work, and someone would give you something that was worth value, okay, value, and that allowed you to take the value with you. So basically, it's stored value, okay, and this allowed you to take your time and your energy with you. That's what money does. It allows you to trade your time during the week to gain something that you could take with you and purchase other things. You're trading your time and your energy for something to go trade it for something else that you want, a desire or something. And so you're just transferring the value to something else. You're giving the value to someone else. So you're just trading your time and energy that you spent to do the certain thing, the job that you have, to buy whatever you want. Think of it this way. Think about gold. Gold is one of the oldest forms of money. Okay? Gold is an asset. You have to go dig the gold. This is what gives it its value. You got to go dig the gold. It takes manpower. That's their energy and their time getting put into the process of digging it up, digging it out of the dirt, processing it, making it into gold bars, putting it out into the market, shipping it. All of those things create value, and it's also scarce. Scarcity. Scarcity creates value. So if you have something that there's not a lot of, and you trade your time and energy for it, then that's a good deal, okay? Because it's a solid deal. It's not losing value. Like, you don't want to have something in your possession that's not one-to-one with the energy and time that you traded, okay? And that's what gold does, all right? So once the gold hits the market, like once they do all the processing and all, then you have the gold, and then you're able to use it. Now, all through history, we've had different forms of money. Like, it started with rocks, seashells, different thing. In a good way to look at this is in prisons, what cigarettes and candy and ramen and all that, that's all used as a form of money. It's got value, and it's scarce in that environment. So this all leads up to this point that I'm trying to make about money. Well, how is our money today? Think about our money today. Up until, I believe, the 1960s, I believe it's in the 60s, we were on the gold standard, which meant that our money was backed by gold 1-to-1. Anyone who had reserve currency, fiat money, it's called a banknote, okay? And that's what our money is, the dollar. If you go get a dollar and you look at it, it says banknote on it. And this just meant that you could turn in this banknote for an equal amount of gold in return. So the banks would hold the gold, and they would issue the bonds and the banknotes against the gold that was in there. And you were able to, at any time, go trade your dollars or whatever you needed to get your gold back. Okay, and that's your time and energy, my friends. Remember this. This is about your time and your energy. So if you have a world now that is not on a gold standard, what does that mean? Well, it means that it's not backed by anything but the faith of the people that have it. I'll tell you what it's really backed by. It's backed by the war machine, but that's a whole nother discussion, my friends. It's backed by the U.S. military in the wars, okay? But what does that mean for us now in this position? Well, if you think about this, what happened during the 2021, 2022, you remember? You know? Well, they printed up, the government printed up 40% of the money that's ever existed on the earth. All of these central banks around the world. 40%. So that means if you had $1 million sitting in your 401k or your bank account in your bank, after those few years, you had 600 grand. And you can see this reflected in the market. You can see it reflected in the grocery stores. You can see it reflected on just about every part of your life, insurance, all of these things. It's because the value, because the money, first of all, isn't backed by gold. And second of all, it's not scarce anymore because they could print it anytime they want, my friends. They could print it out of thin air and send it to countries and send it to this and use it for this and use it for fraud and use it for all of this and tax. We pay all kinds of taxes for what? There's poverty in the world for what? There's poverty in the world because it creates classes. It creates the illusion of poverty. The illusion of poverty is made so that you go to work, my friends. The illusion is there. That way you stick to the game, to the game plan. Go get a job, work your ass off your whole life, pay taxes, and then the money goes to fraud. Okay? Because guess what? They could print it. And they do print it. They could print it any time they want. So your money isn't backed by gold. It isn't backed by anything. It's backed by U.S. hegemony around the world. Okay? It's our greatest export. Now back to this. We printed 40% of the money that's ever existed. 600. If you had $1 million in the bank, you now have 600. Boom, just like that. You lost 40% of the value of your money. Okay? Now, what's going on today? Okay? What's going on today? We are $48 trillion in debt. Who do we owe? People say this all the time. Who the hell do we owe? Who the hell do we owe? Well, we owe ourselves. Because think about this, friends. They have created a system where they have us working, then they extract that value from us, energy and time, through tax. Okay? And then God knows where it goes. Okay? And then they print on top of that because of all of the mismanaging that they've done. Right? There's no balanced budget. But we live in an inflationary world. We live in a world that's based on inflation. And so inflation's just become normal. They've normalized it. But inflation also comes with, what is it? 48 trillion in debt, inflation. Inflationary world. Yes, so 48 trillion in debt. We live in an inflationary world, which means that the cost of goods keep going up, even though, so the cost of goods going up, goods go up, even though technology is getting better and faster. What does that mean? If things are getting easier to create, Wouldn't that be a deflationary type of system? Okay. But the truth is we've never ever lived in a true free market. Because a true free market is deflationary by default. Okay? Because think about this, friends. If we get better and better and better at making something, the technology gets better and better at making or creating it, then say I make a certain product and then you make a product better for cheaper, then the people are going to buy that product. Okay? And then if someone else makes it cheaper than that and better, using better technology, faster, cheaper technology, then people are going to buy that because you're not going to go buy the more expensive thing anymore. And then this is what I mean by an economy that should be deflationary by default. But all of the prices are ever going up. And that is because fundamentally they are stealing the wealth from in between, friends. The Ponzi. The Ponzi is money is fiat money itself. The Ponzi is that we work our whole lives trading our time and energy for a melting ice cube that is fiat dollars, our dollars in our pocket. Because they keep inflating it and inflating it and inflating it away. And it dilutes our time and energy because it's not solid anymore, friends. Do you see that? So what do you think should be our response to that? What do you think we should be trading our time for? I would like to know. Comment in the comment section. Thoughts. Should we be trading our time and energy for a system that isn't benefiting us? I would like to know. Stay feeling thoughtful. And next time, we're going to talk about things that we may be able to do to right this ship and cut the head off the snake, my friends. Have a good one. Peace.